Konnichiwa Disc Golf fans, and welcome to Disc Channel's coverage of the 37th Japan National Championships. You are watching the Round 3 Back 9 MPO lead card coverage, the exciting conclusion to the 2025 Japan National Championships. Welcome. My name is Rob Rowland, Innova Ambassador, and I will be guiding you through the conclusion to this exciting three-day tournament held on October 10th and 11th, 2025 in Fukushima Prefecture, northeastern Japan. Your lead card through 2.5 rounds. Leader, Yutaro Sakai at 13 under, Patrick Yu, a few strokes behind him at 8 under, Dai Takakura putting together a pretty nice round at 1 over, and former multi-time Japan National Champion Manabu Kajiyama at 4 over in 4th place. 9 holes left to play, still potential for some movement on our podium. Let's see how it plays out. Starting with hole number 10. Hole number 10 is a par 3, 322-foot, 98-meter shot that starts in the woods and immediately bends off to the right. The width of the fairway and height of the ceiling on both left and right side make it very difficult to get into circle 1 for an easy birdie look. A force over with a fairly overstable disc is the best play to get a chance at the green. Let's see what our lead card does. Dai had a very good angle on this disc, but unfortunately caught the ceiling on the right side early. He'll probably have to lay up for his par. Yutaro says himself, "Oh, it's so early, oh, it's so low," but he manages to get all the way down to about 15 meters away. He'll have a long birdie putt. And I'll be going with the forehand. Gets him to about 13 meters. Doesn't look like we have any wind in this wooded fairway, so a circle 2 look is not the end of the world. Patrick puts an excellent move on this one, goes straight past the basket. He will also be in circle 2, but long of the basket. Dai has been deadly from range this tournament, but we'll have to settle for par on this hole. Patrick, not quite enough height on that, but a decent bid. Yutaro unable to convert for birdie. Manabu puts it right in the heart of the basket for his birdie. Nice to see Manabu besting the card on at least one hole. He has had a very tough time of it this tournament as our players tap out their pars. Hole 10 played under par. It played 0.19 strokes under par with 19% birdies and 81% pars. A reminder, there were 16 players in our MPO field. A birdie was hard to come by. Well done, Manabu, for making it happen. Love to see this sportsmanship. Yutaro passing Patrick's putter back to him. Have another look at Manabu's smooth forehand form as we check in with the scores. Not a whole lot of movement on our lead card, but Manabu with his birdie has taken one step closer to Dai in 3rd place. There are now two strokes separating them at the bottom of the lead card. Moving on to hole 11. Hole 11 is a par 3, 305-foot, 93-meter, somewhat poke and hope hole through the woods here. There's OB that kind of cuts into the left right about now. There's a cement trough that runs all the way along the left side of the fairway. A backhand shot that kicks left has the potential of going OB. No OB on the right, so going on the right side is the safer shot. There are a lot of trees fairly randomly scattered around the fairway. You have to get kind of lucky to get all the way to the green. Lead card did pretty well on this hole in the 2nd round. Let's see how this round fares. Manabu goes for the forehand line, hits a tree, but is lucky to stop short of the OB. Dai puts a low move on this one, and just catches a tree in the center of the fairway. Will likely have to settle for par. Yutaro goes for the somewhat hyzer line here and almost gets all the way through, but makes his way down into circle 1-ish, circle 2-ish. Patrick likes what Yutaro was doing, but also, unfortunately, catches a tree about halfway down the fairway. Patrick with an uncharacteristic miscue on his forehand here. A fairly orthodox layup, and he has a deep putt to save his par. Manabu lays up nicely, scaring the basket a little on that. Sort of a safe attempt, maybe. Dai trying to flex one in from deep. Good height on that. Good pace, too. Patrick Yu from nearly circle 3 will have to settle for his bogey. Yutaro just to the right on his birdie attempt.
Yeah.
Nicely cleaned up by Patrick Yu. Dai with an awkward stance. Not typically a straddle putter. He can't convert on his par putt. Manabu converts on his and demonstrates good balance, which of course is necessary in a circle 1 putt. As our card cleans up, hole 11 played .44 strokes over par. There was a single birdie in the field, 56% pars, 25% bogeys, and 13% double bogey or worse. Kaide Matayoshi was your only birdie on the hole. He was in circle 1. Well done, Kaide. As we move on to hole number 12. Hole 12 is a par 4, 515-foot, 157-meter shot. Your first shot straight down the fairway, you want to land somewhere on the left side of the fairway around here, because there is a mandatory, which we are just coming around, which forces you to the left as you take a right turn in towards the basket here. Anything on the left side of the fairway about 100 plus meters down the fairway, 350 feet or so, will give you an approach at the green, but the guardian trees short of the basket do make a challenging approach if you don't have a good angle. As long as this doesn't fade too far left, this looks fantastic. And it looks like he will have decent footing and a good angle to approach the green. Dai unfortunately hits the ceiling about halfway down the fairway. He should have a very challenging shot around the mandatory if he wants to go for birdie. Par is even a tough ask from there. Patrick a bit low and on the wrong side of the fairway, which is the right side of the fairway, but will likely have a forehand approach around the mandatory. Dai settling, unless he sinks another super long putt, will be settling for another par here. Patrick doesn't really have a forehand angle at it and is going for a sky anhyzer. And somehow makes it all the way into the green. Fantastic shot from Patrick Yu. Manabu, a bit of a miscue on his anhyzer. And Yutaro has a straight shot into the basket from a fantastic drive, showing why he is your tournament leader through 2.5 rounds. Dai kind of floats one in there. Not quite enough oomph to get him to the basket, but he will take a par. Manabu sinking another one from deep. Better late than never, but we would have loved to see this performance from Manabu earlier in the tournament. The first round, conditions were just so awful. It's difficult to ask too much from players in rain like that. Patrick ends up with a birdie after that sky anhyzer. Big smile on his face. He knows he was fortunate to get through the trees, but hey, it takes some skill to even be in position to take advantage of that kind of luck. Dai taps out his par. Yutaro will tap out his birdie with the same disc he approached with. Fantastic. Hole 12. Played .12 strokes under par. 44% birdies, 38% pars, 6% bogeys, and 13% double bogey or worse. As we have another look at Manabu's fantastic deep putt for birdie. Manabu, heating things up in the back nine, is now tied with Dai for third place. Yutaro and Patrick going stroke for stroke here. 14 under for Yutaro, 8 under for Patrick as we move into hole 13. Hole 13 is a 1,086-foot, 331-meter par 5 that bends to the right, bends to the right, bends to the right a little bit more, and then goes straight towards the basket, which is located on the left side of the fairway. The rough on the left side can make it, if you hyzer out a bit early, can make it challenging to get a clean second or third shot towards the basket. There is OB far to the left through the woods. Nothing really to worry about OB-wise on the left side. If you turn something over too much on the right side, you do have to worry about OB that way. But really, just keeping it low enough not to catch the ceiling and between the trees on the sand is the name of the game. And Manabu is showing you where you want to put your first shot. A bit too far off to the left, maybe. About a meter or two away from those trees to give you good footing, and a solid run-up would be ideal. Yutaro gesturing wildly, asking it to sit. And it looks like he will be stuck on a tree. May not have a run-up or good footing, but we'll see for his second shot. Patrick turns this over into the right side. And I see no OB graphic, so maybe he did not find the OB on that side, but either way, he will be unable to take a shot straight at the basket from there. You need to be on the left side after your first shot. And Dai has poked through into the rough, or rather the fairway of another hole on this side. We'll see what he has from here. A narrow doorway that he hits perfectly, but gets a bit too much height and a bit too much stability on that disc. Will end up on the left side again. But he's made significant progress towards the basket. Yutaro has a lane, but a pretty terrible angle. And makes the most of it. He ends up in the center of the fairway. Should have no trouble approaching the green from there. Manabu with a ton of power on that one-stepper. Ends up in the open on the left side. It should have an orthodox approach for his birdie. Patrick going over OB, hoping to hyzer back into the fairway. And it sounds like he has hit a tree and gone OB, and will not advance very much. And instead try to get a forehand roller up the fairway, but it stands up. He will be playing army golf, left, right, as he wisely pitches out into the fairway. Has a straight look at the basket, but he has popped this one up. He has hit the ceiling, but fortunately has landed in the fairway. Dai trying to poke it through this wall of trees again. And ends up off the fairway once again. Yutaro using an overstable disc to flex something and scoot himself into the bullseye on his approach. Fantastic shot from Yutaro. Manabu has punched this out wide, but has the perfect disc with the perfect stability, a wide-wing disc that skips straight into the bullseye. Patrick has gone a bit long, but he is at least in circle one on the green. Dai with an air bounce from the rough onto the green. Patrick taps out his triple bogey, happy to be off that hole, but knows he could have done better. And just like that, Yutaro has a 9-stroke lead. Actually, with that birdie, a 10-stroke lead on the field with only 5 holes to go. Manabu taps out his birdie. Hole 13 played 0.31 strokes over par. 25% of the field got the birdie, 44% pars, 13% bogeys, and 19% double bogey or worse. That's 5 players with double bogey or worse. Manabu is now in solo third place as we move into hole 14. Low ceiling, low floor, narrow walls, par 3, 302-foot, 92-meter shot, with OB just to the left of the basket within circle 1. You need something stable that you can flex out low and expect to come back, but if it comes back too hard, too early, and you're in the shul on the left side, blocked off from the basket too late, and you run the risk of skipping OB. Manabu has the box. And shows us the line. That was an absolutely perfect shot from Manabu Kajiyama. I don't like to use terms like too little, too late, but I would have loved to see Manabu have this play earlier in the tournament. Yutaro with a slightly less aggressive line, but into circle 1 nonetheless. He doesn't quite have the power to make the green, but he will have a straddle putt from there. Unfortunately, out to the left side of that tree. Patrick puts a nice move on this one. A bit too much distance and not quite enough stability. He'll have a stepper for his birdie. And he brings it up. Very nice flex. Almost circle 3. As he guides the disc in with his eyes. Nice putt. Love to see that kind of recovery after a triple bogey. Dai with a little... He didn't have to straddle. A staggered stance putt that flexes into the basket. And Yutaro gets big putted. And that unfortunate miss keeps our lead card out of the elusive star frame for hole 14. Hole 14 was a challenging hole. It played 0.06 strokes under par, just barely under par, with 31% birdies, 44% pars, 25% bogeys. Not too many putts like this, I'm guessing, right on the stripe. Great putt from Patrick Yu. Through 14 holes, Yutaro is now 9 strokes in the lead at 15 under over Patrick Yu at 6 under. Manabu with another birdie, absolutely on fire in this back 9, is now even, and Dai is 1 over in 4th place. As we move into hole 15 is a challenging hole. A par 3, 328-foot, 100-meter shot that starts going through this somewhat triple mandatory. There is a hyzer line around the outside, but it is, it would require probably 500 feet of distance, and all risk, very little reward if you don't have that kind of power. You want to get under and through that initial gap and then hopefully miss the tree to the left, hopefully miss the tree to the right, and end up on the green. Most players are going to want to get through the trees initially and then fade out to the left and settle for par here. Not a typically birdieable hole. Manabu has put a fantastic move on this. And he has cleared the OB, just barely, but he will be on the dance floor for a birdie. Dai lucky not to hit a tree on the right side. And gets all the way through into deep circle 2, maybe circle 3. Patrick threw low in round 2 as well. Yutaro gets clear and over and gets a nice kick off of that horse jumping apparatus down there. We'll have a circle 2 putt for his birdie. Patrick asking this one to fade, doesn't quite. He'll have about 8 meters, 9 meters for his birdie. Dai with a birdie putt from a mile away. Had to cut to the camera on the top of the hill just to show the distance on that putt. Man, that must have been 18 meters. Just look at this. From a standstill, playing catch with the basket. Dai absolutely smoking putters. Yutaro comes up short, disappointed in himself. Patrick catches the bottom of the band, but he's in for par. Manabu with the easier birdie of the two we saw on this hole. A fantastic forehand flex line under that low ceiling. As Yutaro taps out his par. Hole 15 played 0.19 strokes over par with 19% birdies. That's 3 of them. 50% pars, 25% bogeys, and 6% double bogey or worse. We have another look at this. I mean, that's not even a putt. That's a throw-in from Dai Takakura. And our lead card is all at even or better. Yutaro at 15 under, Patrick at 6 under, Manabu creeping up at 1 under, and Dai at even, moving into hole 16. Hole 16 is a par 4, 623-foot, 190-meter shot. You tee off from below the green level. Eventually, you want to be up onto this sand track, somewhere beyond where the hazard area ends. And OB tapers left and right to within circle 1 on both left and right, just beyond circle 1 deep at the basket. Most tee shots are going to end up in the safe area to the left on the grass, rather than sort of risk flipping a disc over and going OB to the right. The straight to hyzer line is definitely the safer shot here. Manabu easily clears the hazard and will have a straight shot from the sand to approach for birdie. Dai does the same. He did the same thing in round 2 as well. The footing on the sand up there can be a little bit tricky, so if you feel more confident with your footing in the grass, getting back down to the left is a better idea. Looks like that's what Patrick is doing here. Not being able to see the basket when you approach it does make it a different kind of challenge, but better than risking flipping a disc over and having it go OB on the right side. As Yutaro ends up on the slope, he will be able to see the basket from there, just below it. Just because it's an orthodox approach doesn't mean you don't take your time with it. Manabu puts it in circle 1. It looks like we have a left to right wind pushing down the hyzers, coming in towards the basket. Yutaro hoping to use that wind to drop this disc out of the air Well played. Patrick can see the top of the flag here. He goes with a big hyzer that catches some trees and ends up in the bullseye. Great distance control from Patrick Yu. Manabu putting into the headwind. With the permission of his card, taps out first. Dai taking his time. Tap out his birdie. Yutaro for his birdie. Patrick saying, go ahead, pull your putter out so I can tap out my birdie. Excellent play from our lead card. This hole played 0.19 strokes under par with 44% birdies, 38% pars, 13% bogeys, and 6% double bogey or worse. Not the most challenging hole. As close as you can get to a must-get birdie on this course. 44% was the highest birdie percentage of any hole. 44% birdie percentage was shared with hole 12, hole 6, and hole 1. As we move on to hole 17. Hole 17 is a par 3, 394-foot, 120-meter shot uphill over this sandy track, which is safe, over this road, which is OB, and on to this very narrow island. This rectangular island has OB short, left, right, and deep. If you punch through the trees deep, you are OB. There is hazard short and to the left, but it should not be an issue for our lead card here. Dai asking for it to stay. Everyone seemed pretty happy with where it landed, but we just saw the OB graphic, so it looks like the disc might be beyond the flag. Patrick, with all the distance in the world, this is a 394-foot uphill shot, and he has, I mean, if that tree wall wasn't there, he would have been 100 past. Yutaro has gone long of the island, has gone OB. Manabu has displayed fantastic control with his tee shots on this back nine. This has the right angle. It's got the right height. Does it have the right pace? Everyone's clapping for it, but we see the OB graphic. It looks like that one is skipped out long. The card has spotted Yutaro here as he nearly dunks it for par, but will have to settle for bogey on his approach. Dai looking to ring another one up from deep. Man, he is all over the basket from that range. Patrick, our card's only shot at birdie, chains out to the left. Great effort from where he was. And this is what Manabu is left with after going OB deep. Yeah, not a whole lot to expect from there, especially with OB so close behind the basket. Yutaro taps out his bogey. Hole 17 was fairly challenging. It played .31 strokes over par with 3 birdies, 19%, 31% pars, and 50% bogeys. Nothing worse than a bogey, though. Patrick gets a stroke back on Yutaro going into our final hole, but it's just a formality at this point. Through 17 holes, Yutaro Sakai is your leader at 15 under, Patrick Yu at 7 under, and Dai and Manabu tied up at even, battling for a podium spot on the final hole of the tournament. Hole 18 is a par 4, 459-foot, 140-meter shot where you tees off from OB. Teeing off from OB, you have to land somewhere in this grassy area. A putter that drives into the ground somewhere around here is sort of your best shot at a clean approach. Being deep towards the left side of the where we're looking now is the best angle to approach the green, but low ceiling and a smattering of trees throughout the fairway really doesn't make any spot the easy approach spot. Patrick, with a lot of turn on this, absolutely laces a stump. Dai goes with a standstill from here. And with his wrist snap, why not? Ends up skirting the stump that Patrick hit, but only just barely. Yutaro hoping not to catch that guardian tree, and he has put the disc in just about the ideal position to approach the green. Manabu goes with the forehand and puts it right at the short tee. Patrick asking for a skip and does not get it. Yutaro turfs it coming into the green. He will have to have a second approach for his par, but again, a formality at this point. Dai air bounces one onto the green, putting him in position for the birdie, putting pressure on Manabu to answer. Which he does, putting his disc in nearly the same spot as Dai. We have a putt-off for third, ladies and gentlemen. Yutaro flexes one right under the basket to tap out for the par and his certain victory. Patrick hanging his head, not being able to hit the putt from there, but let's be honest, that's not a very hittable putt. Woo! Dai sneaks the putt in on the weak side, forcing Manabu to answer. Which he does. He'll have a tie at third place. Patrick Yu taps out his par, and a big smile on the face of your first time Japan National Champion, Prodigy sponsored, Yutaro Sakai. It's a big handshake from the commissioner of the Japan Professional Disc Golf Association. Receives the trophy, a winner's picture, and he is finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. He has been chasing this title for many years. Manabu Kajiyama is the ever-present barrier to a new national champion being crowned year after year, and Yutaro Sakai has bested him in 2025. Congratulations, Yutaro. Thank you all for watching the tournament with us. A big special thanks to our Disc Channel Founders Club. Our Founders Club is a subscription model where you can contribute to the further production of Japanese disc golf. If you like what you see and you'd like to support it, please consider becoming a member through the YouTube subscription model. That's all for the 37th Japan National Championships in 2025. My name is Rob Rowland, Innova Ambassador, and until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Take care, everyone.
本当にいいところで勝って非常に嬉しい一日でございました。また来年ここにですねいいところでいい気持ちで戻ってこられればいいかなと思います。皆さん本当にお疲れ様でした。Congratulations! 第37回日本選手権 MPO 部の優勝、坂井優太郎選手です。